It was an ordinary evening, and there I was, back at my regular convenience store, and I just couldn't believe my eyes. I was actually being held at gunpoint by the convenience store owner. The owner! I found myself all alone, with an actual gun pointed to my head. The owner kept insisting that he was onto my tricks, even if he couldn't prove it. He was dumbfounded and just couldn't believe that there was an actual person out there who won the lottery a grand total of 5 times in only 3 months in the exact same store. I told him that I wasn't a criminal. Honestly, sir, I'm not cheating or breaking the law, or even a simple rule. Honest. I merely have a very simple formula that I use, and it works really well. I even said I would share it with him. It's not a secret or anything. I mean, anyone can do it. But he wouldn't listen, and I became more terrified that I could actually die at any moment. I don't even want to think what would have happened if an obnoxious group of teens hadn't walked into the store at that exact moment. But that moment forced the lunatic owner to put away his gun. As soon as that gun disappeared and the teenagers became louder, I hightailed it out of there. Up until then, I had been on cloud nine. Come on, I mean, I'd won over $325,000 in the last 3 months just because I played the flippin' lotto and used a very easy system that I created to predict winners. Couldn't get more simple than that. I had managed to settle all of my debts, and some of those debts were monsters I had never been able to shake until now. I was actually able to get my 2 kids everything they had been begging for. Everything. From fancy clothes to fancy bikes to fancy phones. I had finally bought my dream house, which was in a great, quiet, and safe neighborhood. Each kid finally had their own room, and I even had a man cave. But after that horrible, life threatening experience, I was no longer in dreamland. If I was going to keep using the incredible formula that I had created, and if I was going to continue putting more and more money in the bank, it was crystal clear to me that I would need to be a lot more careful. But here's the kick. Once you know how to win the lotto repeatedly, a lot of people aren't going to be happy that you are. Trust me, as you keep winning, you will have to start to rotate the convenience store you go to because the owners absolutely despise having to pay cash from their own registers. It doesn't matter what lotto prize you win, whether it's $2,000, $12,000, maybe $120,000 or so, whether it's big or small, those store owners will quickly become scared that the state is going to investigate them to try and figure out just what makes their store so lucky. But here's the best part. It has nothing to do with what store you go to, but rather everything to do with just how you pick your lotto numbers. That is the big secret of how I have managed to win the lotto 5 times in the last 3 months and 14 times in the past 2 years. It's not like every winner was a major jackpot either. Some of the tickets were a mere $2,000, $6,000, or $10,000. Now, these numbers won't make you rich, but they definitely will make your life a lot sweeter. And this is the same secret I shared with a handful of other lucky people who got to experience the same luck I had. People like Sammy Q, Trenton, New Jersey, who wrote me recently to say, "Dearest Thomas, I just had to write a quick note to thank you for changing my life. This month alone, I have won the lotto 3 times, $17,200, $110,162, and $32,568, give or take. Of course, some months I don't make a killing, but I am averaging about $23,000 a month, and I know it's all because of your system. I just can't believe how easy your system really is. I'm pretty sure that even my cat could use it. I'm just glad that you're not sharing this easy guide and formula with too many people because I'm sure that if you did, the lottery biz would go out of business and quickly." Sammy Q, Trenton, New Jersey. And John S. of Palm Beach, Florida, who says, "I just can't believe it. 4 awesome wins of $6,000 over the last 3 months. If I had known that I would be winning like this, I would have started ages ago. But your formula is so darn easy to use, plus it's crazy accurate. I am so proud to know that my family and me won't be having money issues ever again. John S., Palm Beach, Florida. And Sharon R. of Redlands, California, who says, I honestly believe that my friend was crazy when he sent your site over to me to check out. I told him, no way was there a system to beat the lottery. That's just crazy talk. But after he won his third jackpot in just 6 months for about $1.3 million in winnings, I started to believe that maybe he wasn't so crazy after all. A little wary, but I gave it a try, and guess what? It works. In about a month, I've won about $122,000. Golly me, I hope it keeps up. Sharon R., Redlands, California. Folks, I'm a professionally trained statistician, and if you had asked me 3 years ago if there was a secret to win the lottery numerous times, or even a way to know what the numbers would be ahead of time, honestly, I would have laughed in your face and called you a big fool. I did know that games just had to be beatable. They were created by us humans after all. It isn't far-fetched to believe that all games have flaws. I mean, if winning the lottery not just once, but even numerous times was so easy, then all of us would be millionaires, right? I thought to myself, yeah, right. No way is that going to happen. I had never even bought a lottery ticket before. However, my entire night would change on a chilly day in September of 2011. Everyone at work and all news channels were talking about how the Powerball jackpot had hit $324 million. Now that's a lot of dough. Don't get me wrong, I like my job and it's pretty stable, but it doesn't really pay much, and sadly I had quite a bit of debt. I really felt like my family and I were going to be in trouble soon and wouldn't be able to live the life we deserved. And honestly, I felt like I was always living paycheck to paycheck. I knew that I would never get to buy my family a great big house, and I would never own an extravagant sports car. Would my family and I ever be financially safe? There were months that I just didn't know how we would put 3 filling meals on the table, or how we would pay for our kids' school needs, like supplies for class and sports equipment. My lovely wife was working 2 jobs just to help our family make ends meet. She was beyond exhausted, and she kept saying that she even was starting to age quicker because of all the stress. Even though I knew she was the most beautiful woman out there. It wasn't like we were desperately poor, but we were struggling. It was so difficult, and like so many people, I was just plain sick and tired of it. So I figured, what the heck, why not? And I headed to the local convenience store to buy 10 tickets for 20 bucks. And here's the really ironic and funny part. Out of those 10 tickets I bought, I had picked a grand total of one number correctly. I joked around saying, oh well, there goes 20 buckaroos down the drain. As I was sitting around watching the news interview, some lady had won. She was older and from Tennessee. She kept crying tears of joy as she kept talking about how she was going to spend all her new money. And after that, there I was, back at it again, working that stupid cycle. Work, work, work. Nothing but work. I barely saw my wife because she had 2 part-time jobs, and our kids were struggling to have a normal life. How could they? Mom and dad were either working or just too exhausted to do fun things. But there was something that kept bothering me, even though I lost. Why was that there were a handful of people who won the lottery numerous times and the rest of us normal folk never won? If you're like me, you have probably seen the news reports about those incredibly lucky people who had won their second, third, fourth, or even seventh ticket. The headlines were absolutely everywhere. It wasn't like the Texas Lottery investigated Joan Ginther, who had won $5.4 million in 1993, and then he won 3 scratch-off games, $2 million in Holiday Millionaire in 2006, $4 million in Millions and Millions in 2008, and $10 million in the $140 million extreme payoff in 2010. Crazy. I'm sure the assistant manager was amazed. Just look at the image of her. She certainly is surprised. It really struck me as odd that this was happening over and over again. There was a small group of ordinary people all over America who were just plain lucky. I dissected the probability, and what I saw was that for any six type game, the odds of winning were around somewhere between 1 and 13 million. It didn't look like amazing odds, but I was curious to know what were these multiple winners doing that I wasn't. Did these lotto winners have some kind of big secret? What did they know that the rest of us didn't? I needed to know. I was even losing sleep at night, just mulling it over in my head. So I did something a little unconventional. I became something of a detective and found out the phone numbers of the multiple lotto winners. I picked up the phone and gave them a call. Obviously, at first, no one wanted to talk. I mean, it makes sense. You just don't know who to trust when you've won millions and millions in the lottery. And this is a pretty important one to remember, folks. Once I show you my simple formula and guide you to start winning thousands and millions, you will have a great deal of family members, colleagues, friends, ex-lovers, random strangers start asking you for money. Please, please make sure you're being smart about your winnings, no matter the amount. Most of the people I spoke with were genuinely nice. Plus, once I told them that I wasn't after their wealth and I was intrigued from a mathematician's point of view, well, then it became pretty easy for them to open up. Some folks were more than happy to share what the secret was and to let me write it all down. And it was all rather interesting. So out of the 30 winners I spoke with, 27 had a personal formula or method that they used and swore was the secret to winning 4, 5, even 6 numbers each and every time. What struck me most was that absolutely none of the winners were using the same formula. The more time I spent studying my notes, looking over every detail that they shared with me, the more I saw that there were similarities. Of course, as a lover of numbers, I began crunching down every little number like I never had before. I took each formula and played around with it as I combined elements of each one. I added a few principles of probability that I believed would totally increase the chances of predicting a winner. Of course, I became obsessed, and I had to review the winning numbers of all the kinds of major lotteries every night. I had to know if the formula I had invested so much time into was working. And let's just say that for almost a year, I had nothing to show for my hard labor. But then it happened. So I was on the 129th variation of my own formula, and I was using it to predict the winning numbers of the Fantasy 5 drawing. As per my usual online check, I sat down to see what the numbers were, and when I did, I was in total shock. My system had accurately predicted every single number. And, well, I was actually just really annoyed and angry because if I had actually bought a ticket, I could have won $229,881. So while I was beating myself up for being a total idiot, I realized something. The formula I had been perfecting for almost a year was working? I mean, it could have just been a coincidence. So I kept testing it, but this time I was a lot smarter. I took 40 bucks and bought tickets from all the popular games. You know, like Fantasy 5, Mega Millions, Powerball, and so on. And sure enough, just 4 days later, there I was holding a $5,200 winner right in my hands. Wowza! Then, just 10 days later, I did it again. I'd hit 4 numbers and the Powerball for a prize totaling $10,000. And happily, only 20 days after that, I hit it big time. I won a Fantasy 5 ticket that was worth just under $200,000. And this time, I obviously bought a ticket. It was staggering. I really couldn't believe what was happening in my life. It didn't seem real until I drove down to the state lottery office and collected my winning checks and put those bad boys in the bank. And wow, did it feel incredible. I finally didn't have to worry about money anymore. My wife didn't have to work herself to death anymore. She could just work one job for fun if she wanted. She could do whatever she wanted. I really felt like a hero to my wonderful family. I had suddenly made more money in just a few months than I ever had in the last 10 years of working 40 or 60 hours a week. What a rush. I continued to win over the next few months by using my formula. And no, people, I wasn't making millions of dollars, but I was racking in a few hundred thousand, and that felt just as good. Every few weeks that I ventured into a lotto office, I got some weird looks. I mean, the owners were partly confused and partly amused, but it's not like they could do anything about my winning all the time. They knew, just like everyone else does, that it is impossible to cheat the lottery. Plus, I wasn't doing anything unethical or wrong at all. All I did was take the common elements in each of the 27 multi-time winners formulas and study what made those elements so special. Then I modified that system into my own by adding some probability theory, which then turned into a winning lotto system. I even call it the Lotto Pulverizer Guide. It's how I know that even you can win the lottery, multiple lotteries in fact, and get whatever it is that you want in life. You don't need to be a mathematician because it really is so easy. You just track the winning numbers of your favorite games, enter them into my guide, and you'll find out exactly what numbers have the highest probability of winning next. That's what Stacy S. of Louisville, Kentucky did. Woohoo, Thomas! This is just so amazing. I've won 3 times now, but each time I am just amazed at how easy your formula is. You really are telling the truth when you say the formula does all the work for you. I just enter the winning numbers using the formula you created, and it gives me winners. So easy. Stacy S., Louisville, Kentucky. And Scott Y. of Austin, Texas, who says, Thomas, I've attached a picture I think you'll like. It's my new Mercedes, which I have wanted to get for a long time, and I wanted to send you the pic because your Lotto Pulverizer guide is what made this all possible. 2 months ago, when I hit $750,000 in the Powerball by using your formula, my life changed forever, and I just keep winning. Well, that is just so crazy. You're a saint for sharing your formula. Scott Y., Austin, Texas. Here's one of the most important things I can say. You are not going to win every single time. You may not even win next week. Come on, that's just realism. However, if you are okay with winning $3,000, $15,800, $45,000, or what have you on the tickets you buy regularly, sometimes you'll even win something like $345,000 and $2 million or so, and you'll do it over 3 to 6 months. Then the Lotto Pulverizer guide that I created will work just right for you. I'm sure you're slightly anxious to know just how my formula works, so let me break down some of the details right now. 1. Begin by writing down the previous winning numbers for each of the games you want to play. I recommend that you get a fresh legal pad that you can use exclusively for this purpose. And if you don't have one, well, just pop over to Walmart or the dollar store. It's less than $1 to buy. 2. You need at least 7 previous draws. You can even get the numbers online in no time. To enter into the simple formula I teach you inside the Lotto Pulverizer guide. And remember, I already did all the complex math, so all the hard work has been taken care of. You just need to add and divide here and there. If you need to then use a calculator, no shame in that. 3. Buy your tickets based on what the winning numbers my formula gave you. Just about every single lottery game out there is based on the same mathematical principles, which pretty much means that the formula you'll get works for all of them. Play as many games as you want and don't spend more than $20 or $30 because there's honestly no reason that you need to. 4. At first, you may only win a small prize of a few $1,000s, or you might not win the first time at all. Whatever the outcome in the beginning, don't get discouraged. The numbers don't lie, my friends. It's only a matter of time until you win big. 5. You should expect to win once or twice a month of around $20,000. And some months you could only win $5,000 or $10,000, while on the other hand, you could also win $300,000. It is incredible to win huge amounts of money, but remain realistic. Set a goal to win $10,000 in a month. 6. Keep using the formula as many times as you want. This could even be your full-time job. And no, I'm not joking. Doesn't matter if you use the same old game or a new one, the principles are the same. That's pretty much it. Remember what I said before though, and try to keep a low profile. Switch up your routine and go to a different convenience store. Otherwise, you might really piss off the owner and he could pull a gun on you. That's not a fun experience, so let's just avoid that, shall we? You should also hire an accountant after you've won a few times. Sometimes they can be pretty annoying, but they will help you make smart decisions. They will help you to invest your thousands or millions smartly so that you can make even more money. This one's pretty important too. Donate some of the money you make to a charity or a good cause. When you win at first, you can go ahead and settle any debts you have. You can buy a new car or a nice house outright. You can treat your kids to whatever they desire. But once you've won over 7 or 8 times, I think it's wise not to get too greedy and to give back to a charity that really needs it. A very important lesson that I learned after winning millions is how important it is to give back. I mean, after you fill up your bank account and have pretty much anything you could ever want, well, that money is just another number. There really is no better feeling than that you've done something truly amazing than giving back. No amount of money compares to that feeling. Okay, so by now, you're probably dying to know how to get your hands on the Lotto Pulverizer guide. I've had a lot of friends and family ask the exact same question. Honestly, I've been pondering over the best way to share this information. Eventually, I decided I would take my formula and other key tips that I've gathered over the years, and I would write it up in an online guide that everyone could read. I truly believe that by giving you the access to the same formula I've used to win numerous and huge winning tickets over the past 3 years, that you can of course download right from your computers, tablets, or smartphones, or you can even print out copies of the formula. Well, this is just another version of me giving back, which as I just mentioned is very important to me. I have also never forgotten the terror and shame of struggling financially. That feeling of bills after bills that never seem to stop, that something horrible and very expensive could just pop up and you're left wondering, how in the hell am I going to pay for this? Of course, I don't know if that's your financial situation. But I do remember where I came from. I remember having to say no to my own children when they wanted a fancy chocolate bar that was $6.99, or when they wanted an action figure that was $10. I remember saying no to that because we had a water bill to pay and every penny counted. And now I love and thrive on having immense financial security. I love having new cars and that new car smell. I love my new 5-bedroom house. I love the fact that each of the children's college funds has over $70,000 in them. I love spending money on my wife, getting her diamond necklaces and rings. I love giving my family everything they want and deserve without a second thought. With that being said, the Lotto Pulverizer Guide is only available on this website, and I really can't let too many people know it exists. If too many people knew about this guide and everyone had access to it, well, then the entire lottery system in America could quite literally crash. So until now, I have had my secret formula priced at $350. This might sound expensive, but seriously, once you're winning $3,000 in your first month alone, which is often a lot less than what other people who use the formula make, well, it pretty much makes the 350 investment look like peanuts in comparison. And if you noticed, I said that I had priced the formula at 350, which was the price in the beginning, but today I am feeling generous and crazy. Here's the thing. I have limited the amount of copies of the Lotto Pulverizer guide to 175 total. After those are all sold, this website is going down and no one else will be able to get it. Remember how I said we just can't have too many people out there winning crazy amounts of cash? And truth be told, 116 people have already bought my formula, which they immediately downloaded, used, and made $1 million or two in the last 7 months alone. I'm actually a little nervous that the lottery corporations are going to come after me for sharing this with people, even though it is 100% legal and doesn't do anything wrong whatsoever, which is precisely why I have decided to cut the price of the Lotto Pulverizer guide even more. You don't need to pay $350 or even $250 for instant access to the magical, life-altering information that's inside. I've made it available to you today for just $197. You can get the formula right now by clicking the Add to Cart button you see as depicted below. And if you want to start winning daily and on a full-time basis, it is super important that you don't wait around and act now. So many hardworking people who don't have a lot of money have been demanding and pleading that I share my system like I am right now. Oh, let me share one more thing with you. In the past 6 months, I have been talking to people who are using my Lotto Pulverizer guide and they're making six figures off of $30 a week in tickets. That's pretty awesome, first of all. So here's what they told me. They said that there were other websites out there like mine that talk about winning the lottery. Now, that made me a bit infuriated. Not for me, but for the people who are buying from those other sites and getting gypped big time. But hey, you've read my story and you've seen the proof with your own eyes that the results I've gotten and shared are 100% real, and that the repeat winnings of the people I've helped with my formula so far are 100% real. Now, because I'm pretty big on trust, and I'm sure you are too, I am going to offer you a 100% money back guarantee that's valid for a full 60 days. That's 2 months, folks, and here's how it works. Just select the Add to Cart button that you see below. Once you've done that and have entered the required information via the secure checkout page I've set up, you'll be taken to a members area where you will get instant access to the Lotto Pulverizer guide. Check out the tips, the advice, and obviously the winning predictive formula right from your computer, tablet, or smartphone. Feel free to download it and print it out, whatever you want. After this, just follow the steps I tell you to inside. Then just try the system for a full 60 days with absolutely no risk. I am 100% sure that you will get some pretty big wins. And I'm not naive. I know that often than not, seeing is believing, which is why I want you to have the wonderful experience of holding winning lotto ticket after winning lotto ticket for yourself. If, for any reason at all, you're not satisfied with your decision to buy this lotto formula over the next 60 days, even if it's because you're simply averaging $5,000 a month and you want more, all you need to do is send an email to the address I'll give you inside the members area, and I will refund your full $197 investment. Come on, just what do you have to lose? You're pretty much saying, maybe to a lottery formula that's already helped ordinary people like you and me average winnings of at least six figures in 6 months and beyond. Remember, if you change your mind, you get your initial investment returned. Neither one of us is losing here. And while I really don't believe that isn't going to happen, because the Lotto Pulverizer guide has been proven to work again and again and again. The formula takes the best working elements of the most successful repeat Lotto winner systems and adds them into a formula that is stronger and better than any other system out there. Go ahead and give it a try right now by clicking the Add to Cart button below. Don't forget though, there are only a mere 59 copies left. And once we hit that magic number of 175, this website right here goes down for good. Basically, the choice is entirely yours. But can you honestly see any reason not to start your new life today? No? Then make your move now, and you'll have access to the entire system in approximately 2 minutes from now. It's really that easy. To a life full of wealth and happiness, yours, Thomas Steele. Oh, hey, you're still here? That's perfectly fine. I understand you might have some remaining questions, and I'll do my best to answer them so that you will feel 100% comfortable with your small investment today. 1. The lottery is completely random, right? Not at all, folks, and that's what confuses people the most. Because the game was designed by mere mortals, it means that the game is beatable. Which is why people can find flaws in the lottery and make a fortune as a result. This is exactly what happened a few years ago when a group of MIT students found flaws in the lotto and won around $8 million. They ended up in trouble, but they didn't even do anything wrong. They had just found a mistake. There are quite a few stories like that, but it's important to remember that what I'm showing you is completely legal and ethical and not cheating whatsoever. It may feel weird when you win so often, but you're not doing anything wrong. 2. Once more, how did you come up with the Lotto Pulverizer guide? All I did was study 27 of the secret formulas from lotto winners who kept winning repeatedly. I analyzed each of those formulas and found they all had things in common. So I just took the common elements of each of these 27 systems, combined them with advanced statistical probability theory, and ergo created my own formula. It took me well over a year to perfect this, and I actually tried 126 different variations before I found the one that works. 3. So how do I use the Lotto Pulverizer guide to win the lotto many times? First of all, you need to track the winning numbers of the games you like or want to play. You can find those numbers online so that you can get a good sample size off the mark. Then you simply enter those numbers into the formula you get in the Lotto Pulverizer guide, and it predicts a new set of winning numbers for you. Just remember, you won't win the lotto every time, and this is all about probability theory. By using this particular formula, you increase your chances of winning from highly unlikely to extremely high. 4. Just how much money should I expect to win using the Lotto Pulverizer guide? On average, you can expect to win around $20,000 a month. Of course, there are some months where you won't win nearly that much, and other months where you'll win a lot more. With this system, you don't just get one or two numbers right, but instead, you'll get between 4 and 6 numbers right. This ultimately means the prizes you'll win are a lot higher than just a few $100s. 5. What are the terms of the guarantee again? It's simple. You get the full benefits of the Lotto Pulverizer guide right now by clicking the Add to Cart button that you see below. Then use the system for a full 2 months and see just how much money it will make you in the end. If for any reason you change your mind, just send me an email and I'll refund your investment. You have a full 2 months, folks. 6. How do I get the Lotto Pulverizer guide? Easy. Click the Add to Cart button that you see below, after which you have immediate access to my guide, my formula, my winning tips, everything that you need to start winning big.